Hello, and welcome to this week's Motor Trade Radio podcast. Powered by Motors and Cazoo, with Philip Nothard and Curtis Hutchinson, bringing you all the chatter that matters from across the franchised and independent dealer sectors.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you very much for tuning in. And if you're listening to this over the bank holiday weekend, I hope you're enjoying a bit of sunshine, because temperatures as we record this are supposed to be hitting 30 degrees.
Oof, that'll be all right, won't it?
Not bad at all, and that's in the south.
That's well,
I don't know what it's like up your way.
God knows at the minute. We've got sun, we've got hailstorm, we've got rain. Yeah, well, let's see what it runs like. But hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's hope that this bank holiday is a nice one for the end of May, and let's put that behind. But yeah, we're busy week again. And we did say last week that there was the AM Awards that took place on Thursday night of last week. So we have got a bit of an update on a few of the winners of those awards, but somebody did take home a few wins there. So let's hope they've got the shelf space to accommodate them, Curtis.
Yeah, friend of the pod, John O'Hanlon, CEO of Wayland Motors, he ended up with, was it 4 awards that you counted?
Oh, yeah, as a business.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, so definitely in need of an expanded and enlarged trophy cabinet, I suspect.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be all right. But we will get John back on the podcast at some point soon, and he can tell us all about it. But yeah, we'll kick off with just a few of the winners, and the first one is, funnily enough, the Strategic Success Award that was sponsored by Cooper Parry and John O'Hanlon himself. CEO of Wayland's there, won that one. So congratulations, because is that a new award? I've not seen or heard that one before, but I might have missed it.
Yes, and next in our list, funnily enough, Franchise Dealership of the Year award went to Wayland's Volvo Oxford. So congratulations there. So some of the other winners, we've got the Independent Dealer of the Year. That was won by Anchor Motor Group. Used Car Performer of the Year went to Granger Motor Group, very much a group that's making a lot of headlines as they grow the business. So nice acknowledgement for them. Dealer Principal General Manager of the Year went to Rob Wood, who's the Managing Director of Beechwood Mazda Derby. And Dealer Group of the Year, up to 20 sites, went to our friends at Wayland's. And you've got a few more, haven't you, Phil?
Yeah, just a couple. For Group of the Year above 20 sites, that was sponsored by Energy Force, was won by Arnold Clark Automobile, should I say. We've got a Supplier of the Year sponsored by Automotive Management Live, which was See It Now Group, so congratulations to those. And Manufacturer of the Year that was sponsored by Navuna Business Finance was BYD UK, so some great awards there for those operators.
Yeah, and just to finish off, Retailer of the Year went to Arnold Clark. Business Leader of the Year was Sue Robinson, Chief Exec of the National Franchise Dealers Association. And the AM Hall of Fame winner was Eddie Hawthorne, former Chief Exec and Group MD of Arnold Clark. So congratulations to all the winners, all the finalists. And judging by the photographs that were shared on LinkedIn, it looks though a good time was had by one and all.
It does. It's like some good celebrations there on Thursday of last week. So talking about last week, we managed to catch up with Robert Forrester as his full year financial results were made available, and that is still available on your podcast feed. So if you've not listened to last week's Saturday show, why not? But we did play a snippet on it on Saturday, but early on in the week we did have that full interview there with Robert Forrester. So if you do want to listen to what Robert's got to say, and it isn't just about his financial results, we go into the Chinese manufacturers, his views on that after his visit to China, and how the market is playing out for them for the first part of this year. So I would advise have a full listen to that interview with Robert Forrester that's in your podcast feed from last week.
You're listening to all the chatter that matters on the Motor Trade Radio podcast, powered by Motors and Cazoo. If you're a supplier and would like us to profile your business and reach our audience of dealer group bosses, managers and decision makers on one of our supplier special episodes, then get in touch with Curtis and Philip at motortraderadio@yahoo.com.
Companies that we've already featured as part of our Supplier Special series include Autoglim Lifeshine, Impel, Prospecting Dynamics, Ivendi, ETT, Generational and Jigcar. You can find them all in your podcast feed along with our recent OEM specials with new EV brands Horizon, Ion and Shangang. We also caught up recently with Suzuki. And if you'd like us to profile your business, then just message us at motortraderadio@yahoo.com.
You're listening to all the chatter that matters on the Motor Trade Radio podcast, powered by Motors and Cazoo.
Headlines this week come from Car Dealer, Motor Trade News and AM. In the first half, we'll look at Peter Vardy selling his last remaining retail sites, which effectively ends 3 generations of car retailing dating back to 1923. Mark Raban makes a surprise exit from Group 1 as a new CEO is appointed. EV consideration reaches a new high among car buyers as the SMMT reveals 2 in 5 new car models on sale in the UK right now are EVs. Then, after the break, research shows physical showroom visits are generating the most dealer sales inquiries. Hedin Automotive posts another year of heavy losses as group blames rising costs. And finally, Big Motoring World has just got bigger with the opening of a new mega site, but not everyone's happy about it.
You're listening to all the chatter that matters on the Motor Trade Radio podcast, powered by Motors and Cazoo.
So as Curtis said there, we'll head over to the car dealer, and this is that Peter Vardy sells last remaining dealerships to Dutch dealer group Van Mossel, of which we know have recently acquired the Ocean and Breeze VW businesses down there on the south coast. So as I say, the Dutch car dealer expands UK operations with the acquisition. Peter Vardy Porsche sensors will transfer to Van Mossel Automotive Group UK. And the deal sees Peter Vardy Group move away from motor retail sector for good, and that the business has also sold their car money to Itachi Corporation. I hope I've said that correctly. So it's big exit there for Peter Vardy.
It is, and very much the end of an era because, as I said, this marks over it's 103 years of car retailing. So the original Vardy business was set up by Peter Vardy's grandfather, Reg Vardy, in 1923. And that business ran successfully and then was taken over by Sir Peter Vardy, who ran it very successfully for many years. It was sold to Pendragon in 2006, and the Peter Vardy Group was first launched in 2006 as well. So as a standalone business, and I remember reporting it on the at the time, and I'm struggling to believe that it was 20 years ago, but it was just initially one site in Perth, and it was a Vauxhall business. And Peter Vardy grew the business across Scotland with Vauxhall initially, and then BMW and Mini. And it did expand across Scotland and saw the opening of a number of used car centres. But what we've seen in recent years, the last couple of years, is Peter Vardy selling off most of the business, and they were just left with these 2 sites, weren't they?
Yeah, and I mean the header is China Fears, which is the interview that they did with Peter Vardy there. So it's a question of is he getting out at the right time? Is he what's he going to do next? I suppose is one of the biggest questions with this. But obviously the Porsche Centre, because it's up in Aberdeen and Perth, I think. Yes, Perth and Aberdeen there are the Porsche centres there. But saying that they sold 1,623 vehicles in 2025, got 93 staff working for them, and generated a revenue of more than 122 million in 2025, and they will be integrated into the Van Mossel Automotive Group UK, which sits under Van Mossel Automotive International there. And Eric Burkhoff, who's the CEO for Van Mossel, said that with Porsche Centre Perth and Porsche Centre Aberdeen, they are adding two strong Porsche locations to their international network, and this step fits well with their strategy for further expand their presence in the UK. So it's interesting that because you're sitting on the outside, don't you, Curtis? And you go, okay, so you've got the ocean and breeze there down on the south coast, and you probably won't get any further south with two VW dealerships.
Yeah.
We know that Van Mossel bought the Jackson's business a year or so ago, and now taking that Porsche business up in Aberdeen and Perth kind of goes against that sort of logic of geographical representation and coverage, doesn't it? But they have got a very strong relationship with both VW Group and Porsche across Europe.
Yeah, it does rather suggest there's a bit of infilling that needs to be done between the businesses in the south and Scotland. And I think the key to this story is really the sort of strategic importance for Van Mossel. They've got this stated intention of growing in the UK. They're a Dutch group. They're very big across Europe. Whenever we look at the top 100 or top 200 dealers in Europe, Van Mossel are always high up there in the top 10. And they made this commitment to grow in the UK some years ago, and what we're seeing is that come to fruition now. So these are two acquisitions. I think we're going to see a lot more this year.
Yeah, they made it very clear. They've had their sights set on the UK. That was sort of indicated when they took the Jackson's business more recently. So, yeah, I think, and the fact that they are very much a chosen partner for Volkswagen Group and part of their partnership strategy going forward. So, yeah, I think we'll see a little bit more of Van Mossel in the near future. But just to finalise this a little bit is that, in more recent terms, they talk about, what's happening with Peter Vardy. And he's also, as I said before, sold the car money business as well. But you can't forget what they've been done. The Peter Vardy Global Ventures invests in startups, the Peter Vardy Foundation. I don't believe this will be the last we'll see and hear from Peter Vardy. I think it's just a total change of what they are looking at representing in the automotive sector. But I'm sure we'll see more from this.
Yeah, and definitely worth keeping an eye on car money, because that was a fast-growing business. My understanding is that the team transfer with the acquisition and with backing from this Japanese conglomerate, effectively, there'll be a lot of investment into growing the business in the UK and I dare say across Europe as well.
Yeah, and sticking with car dealer, lots of musical chairs and movements at that C-suite level, isn't there, Curtis? We keep talking about the podcast recently, but in this week, Group One Automotive announced the departure of Mark Raban and leaving, and they're appointing a new CEO. So it's been announced that Mark Raban will leave the company as CEO. He's been leading Group One Automotive since 2024 here in the UK, and Daniel McHenry will replace him as president and CEO with immediate effect. So it looks lots of change there.
Yeah, and Daniel McHenry, he was CFO. And interestingly, because I first saw this story, and I think it was probably broken by Auto Sunday midweek. They put out a story, And interestingly, they'd only interviewed Mark Raban the previous week about current and future strategy. And in the Auto Sunday coverage, they do make it quite clear that there was no reference to him leaving the business. So I would suggest this has happened rather suddenly.
Yes, there's. I mean, it's the CFO role. I think it was Mark Leader that was in that role up until early April. He sort of left. It wasn't hugely covered in the sector. But obviously, Daniel McHenry has been there, I think, as part of the Group 1 business for a while. I think he's been over in the US, hasn't he? I think more recently. So, yeah, it's a lot of change there. I think there's 2 or 3 CFOs in the market at the minute, and obviously quite a few CEO movements taking.
Yeah, and worth adding that Mark Raban, I mean, an impressive career in the industry, because I think we first spoke to him when he was at Marshall's. He came on the podcast with our old friend Dash Gupta when they were doing their 4-year financials. So we spoke to him then, but from Marshalls he went on to Lookers and then on to Group 1. So it would be interesting to see where Mark pops up next.
Yeah, definitely. So moving into the world of EVs now, and heading over to Motor Trade News, and this is the EV consideration reaches record high amongst car buyers, saying that nearly 1 in 4 buyers now expect their next car to be an EV. And this is the new research from Cazoo and Motors there, saying that the research suggests more motorists are moving directly from petrol and diesel cars rather than transitioning through hybrids. So, yeah, I know you were involved with this, weren't you, as part of that panel insight with Cazoo and Motors?
Yeah, it really is a good piece of research, this. It's the Consumer Insight Panel, which polls the views of just over 2,000 car buyers, and it found that 24% expect their next vehicle purchase to be an EV, and that's actually up from 21% in January. But at the same time, 45% said they are considering an internal combustion engine vehicle, down from 47% earlier this year. So ICE is dipping, EV is increasing. Hybrid models also continue to attract strong attention, with 31% of buyers saying they expect to purchase one. But what I found particularly interesting in these findings was that the research suggests that hybrids are no longer viewed as the sort of default stepping stone towards full electrification, because the survey found that 62% of existing EV owners actually came direct from petrol or diesel vehicles into a fully electric car, while only a quarter had previously owned a hybrid. And I think the assumption over recent years was that figure was a lot higher. Hybrid was the stepping stone for those uncertain about going fully electric. But the research does actually reveal that 13% had bought EVs as their first car anyway. So what we're starting to see is these new car buyers, be it buying new or used, but their first car is an EV, so 13%, and that figure is going to grow and grow, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and there's a nice little sign-off quote in the story from Lucy Tugby, who's the marketing director at Cazoo and Motors, saying that selling used EVs is challenging and highlights the role dealers can play in promoting the affordability of the growing number of makes and models now entering the used car market. And for many customers buying new, even the car maker incentives is still not an affordable option. So they're really saying that this demand for used, more affordable EVs for the market is now becoming more prevalent in the consumer space.
And staying with EVs and sort of continuing on that theme, and staying with Motor Trade News as well, they ran a story during the week with the headline, EVs account for 2 in 5 available models, says the SMMT. So this is the research that the SMMT has done on the number of models available to UK buyers that are EV, and it found that 2 in 5 just under 41% of available models now on sale in the UK are battery electric vehicles. And what the SMMT produced as part of their report was they looked back over the last 10 years to see where we were in 2016, when electric cars were still pretty much a niche proposition. And back then, there were just 14 models available. So, going from that to where we are now, where there's more than 167 battery electric vehicle models currently on sale in the UK.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is it now, isn't it? You're seeing that acceleration. I know, obviously, the transition to the Z mandate may have slowed a little bit and maybe even plateaued, but I think you can't forget the acceleration that there was over previous years towards those Z mandate thresholds. That creates used cars, doesn't it? And we know that they are becoming a lot more affordable, bigger volumes, bigger representation of the models on offer from the manufacturers across their model lineup. So I think we're now starting to see what that impact means in terms of that used vehicle park, and obviously what's playing through those used car figures. And I think you forget it's only 2016. Yeah, it seems a long time ago, but it's only 10 years, and we've had a big shift in the sector since then. And even talking about here that the transition extends beyond cars, saying with the zero emission commercial vehicle model choice increasing among almost 15-fold over that decade, riding from just 5 in 2016 to more than 78 today. So the scale and speed of this transition is now starting to be very much apparent, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. And also an interesting stat about battery ranges, because within the story it shows that average electric driving range now exceeds 300 miles, comfortably surpassing what is judged to be the typical weekly mileage of around 127 miles. So it's I think we've moved on from range anxiety now.
I think it is. It's quite significant. We have moved on, but we'll be back with the rest of this week's headlines after this short break.
You're listening to all the chatter that matters on Motor Trade Radio, powered by Motors and Cazoo. This is your weekly one-stop shop for all the biggest car retailing headlines from across the media.
So next story comes from AM, and the headline there is physical showroom visits generate most dealer sales inquiries. So this is some research done by JudgeService, which I did work with Neil Adley, chief exec there at JudgeService on this. So did have a look at the research, and I mean their database is huge, because the findings are based on analysis of 1.7 million customer responses, and they've been gathered through JudgeService's ProAct lost sales surveys between 2022 and 2026. So what have they found? So the research actually found that 50% of customer inquiries now come from dealership visits, and that's actually up from 44% in 2022, and very much highlighting the continued importance of physical retail environments. Online inquiries also increased over that same period, rising from 24% to 26%, while phone inquiries fell from 22% to 17%. And also, interestingly, leads generated by sales staff who are proactively contacting customers also declined. They dropped from 9% to 7%. And I think what this research is highlighting is that we're seeing more customers choosing to go to dealers before they make an inquiry. Chances are they've already done their research online. They know which cars they want to see, but before clicking on the button or whatever, or phoning the dealer, they're turning up and they're looking at the cars in the metal, in person, and then making an inquiry if they're interested.
I mean, if you think about what we were talking about not that long ago, in the post sort of pandemic period, about online purchasing, the consolidation, the accelerated consolidation across that dealer market. This is demonstrating that we're getting a bit of a reverse of that now, aren't we? That it is all about showroom visits. If you look at new entrants now coming to the UK, primarily from China, they're all looking for open points. They're all looking for physical premises, aren't they, to demonstrate their product and their brand to the consumer. So we've had this kind of whole reversal of what started to happen in 2021, 2022, and just that period of time where we're expecting what's the future of the physical dealer. Well, it's very much there, isn't it?
It is, yes, and this is really sort of encouraging news. Certainly for many listeners. Although I must add an anecdote to this story because, I worked with JudgeService on this press release. After it went out and it was picked up by various publications, I actually took my car in for a service to a franchise dealership. Handed the keys over, and I do it every time. I always make sure I walk around the forecourt and the showroom just so I can see the latest new cars and what the used cars are. Guess how many salespeople came out to ask me if they could help?
Yeah,
none.
yeah,
None. I was probably there for 25 minutes. And not one salesperson came to ask if I needed any assistance. And
well, identify you as a tyre kicker, Curtis. That's what it is.
Well, exactly. Yeah, they obviously looked at me and thought, no, time waster.
It is. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. This, and I think anybody listening to this morning, it's kind of when I used to run dealerships myself, and it was you get this balance of not pestering the customer. Giving them time to enter the showroom and relax, whether they're from the service or coming in to look at the cars, either on the used car forecourt in the showroom. But there's another thing, just totally, absolutely ignoring them and actually not speaking to them at all. You're walking around for 20 minutes and just to have nobody just to make sure that you're okay, if there's anything you want, anything you need, and just acknowledge you is key. But yeah, I think some people are like going, it is a problem that you're not you don't want to make the customer feel pressured and pestered, and everybody, every time you turn around, you've got a salesman trying to sell you something, but you at least want to be acknowledged and welcome, don't you, just to make sure that you're okay. If you do, you could be looking at another car. You could be thinking, actually, I want to buy my cars in service. We look at the stats and the amount of business that does come from the service customer, and totally ignore you.
Well, yeah, but because the irony is that I have a petrol-engined car, and I was looking at their electric models because that might be where I go next time. So I was walking around, opening doors, sitting in cars, and nothing. So, but you're right; it's sort of hitting the right balance. You don't want to irritate buyers, but I think buyers like to be acknowledged, even if they are time.
I don't think the picture of your headshot and saying "Don't bother him, ignore him," is not a buyer on the office wall probably doesn't help, does it, guys?
Probably not. No.
And the final two stories of today is obviously around the dealers and what was happening and heading back to car dealer. And the first of this is Hedin Automotive posts another year of heavy losses as car dealer group blames rising costs. Now, I must say this is for their financial accounts ending 2024, and that the firm made a pre-tax loss of 7.38 million, despite the rise in turnover, and bosses blame struggles on high costs and low economic growth. So I think there's a few dealers that can probably vouch for that same feeling in 2024.
Yeah, and it's just struck me that all our franchise dealer stories today have been foreign-owned dealer groups. So we've had American, Dutch, and Swedish. Now, Hedin, a massive player across continental Europe, and they've been in the UK since 2022 after buying 4 sites from Mercedes-Benz, including the flagship Brooklyn site. And it had also previously tabled that unsuccessful bid for Pendragon. So very much a group now established in the UK and looking to grow. As you say, these 4 years are for the year ending December 2024. So they are kind of out of date now, but the figures are worth looking at. So they made a pre-tax loss of 7.3 million in that period, while the results did actually mark a small improvement on the previous year's loss of 7.5 million. But Hedin, based on those financials, still remains a significant way off achieving profitability, although we don't know what they've done in the next financial year.
Yeah, and other markets as well. I think,
yes.
I think this is
purely UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just on terms of turnover, that despite that the turnover almost doubling from 211.55 million to 412.84 million, and net assets skyrocketing from 4.7 million to 12.2 million. Although this is part down to shortened 9 months accounting year in 2023 there. So, and there is a reacting to the losses from the directors, say that the performance was impacted by the UK entering recession in the second half of 2023, resulting in a period of low growth in 2024. I'm not sure we had a financial crash in the second half of 2023 there, didn't we? I know it was a bit challenging.
Yeah, yeah. It seems to have been challenging for the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, I can't remember the recession element of it, but yeah, it's. But again, I think that we must remember, they're a big operation. They've got some big operations there in the UK as well, and obviously this is for their 2024 trading. But they, as you say there, they did snap up those 4 dealerships from Mercedes-Benz retail, didn't they, back in April of 2023 there. And as you said there earlier, the Mercedes-Benz World business there down in Brooklyn. So they've got some heavy operations.
Yeah, and they also acquired the Stephen James business, which it gave them a foothold into BMW and Mini. Just finishing off on this story, that they do actually make a comment about the current trading year, because they say as we enter 2025, the group is very positive around more stable trading conditions with additional income anticipated from after sales and lower interest rates. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. Just early trading, and just finally today, Big Motoring World takes over X Car Shop site as Pete Waddell criticises the move there. This is a little bit further north from yourself, Curtis. That Big Motoring World have acquired the used car showroom over there in Warrington, and it's a former car shop business that then obviously transitioned into sitting a supermarket there. I remember it. I used to meet Jonathan Allbones back in the day over there. A huge site there, very well laid out, with significant size operation there, and quite logistically quite well placed as well. But it does point out in the story that majority shareholder Peter Waddell speaks out against the deal. So he's not a supporter of the deal, is he?
He's not, no. And as you intimate there, it's a big site. So this actually becomes the biggest Big Motoring World site. It's their 11th and largest, with the capacity to stock up to 1,000 cars on the 13-acre plot. And the new store is already up and running with around 60 employees. I mean, it just shows the scale of the business, doesn't it? Yeah. Joining from Sytner as part of the deal. The story goes on to say that, however, Big Motoring World's founder, Peter Waddell, has hit out at the agreement and says the firm does not have the stock to fill the site. And Peter Waddell the largest shareholder of Big Motoring World, initially told Car Dealer that he was actually looking into getting an injunction in an attempt to end the deal. But his team within the story, it's reported they've backtracked on the threat of further legal action, saying that an injunction cannot be sought as the deal is already complete. But Peter Waddell was certainly very vocal on LinkedIn when this story was announced, and he was questioning how they would actually fill the site with stock.
Yeah, because that's the thing with these kind of operations. It's the 1,000 unit capacity, but it's that stock and pipeline. If you depending on the turnover of that stock, depending if you're turning that stock 8, 9, 10 times a year, that's a lot of cars that you need to be sourcing in stock and pipeline that's continually coming through that process, buying them, prepping them, and getting them ready for the forecourt. So I think the key to any of these supermarkets and any business in general is stock and pipeline management and control. But as you say there, they'll have a lot of work going on into it. Lois Vaughan, the CEO of Big Motoring World, saying that the opening of their Warrington store will help even more people choose the right used car for them, from the greatest range of vehicles, the lowest price guaranteed, and the quality assured by their ARAC approved dealership status, saying that buying used cars is an increasingly popular choice for many drivers. And when paired with the excellent finance offers and new market-leading warranty package, Big Motoring World Warrington, customers can be confident they are getting the best value, choice and quality available in the car. That's a bit of a sales pitch, isn't it?
That's not bad, is it? and Big Motoring World did actually respond to Peter Waddell's comments by saying that Big Motoring World has a strategy to secure ample volumes of quality stock to meet the needs of our new Warrington facility, going on to say, we will have over 500 vehicles from today. So that was during the week, increasing rapidly to around 1,000 to make it one of our largest stores. So a statement of intent there. And interestingly, Car Dealer understands that the Warrington site is being leased from Sytner rather than Big Motoring World buying the plot outright.
Yeah, I would have thought you'd want to retain that if you could retain it as an asset to lease out. But and just finally put a bit of current context on things, saying that the first quarter of 2026 was a record for the business in the Big Motoring World, and they look forward to the new site contributing to the continued growth of Big Motoring World in 2026 and beyond there. So lots going on again. So it looks like Pete Waddell is still there in the background and looking at obviously how Big Motoring World develop themselves. As I say, the Hedin business, wish them the best. Conscious that is 2024 trading, and hopefully 2025 has been a little bit more positive for them, and 2026 proves even better. So some of these late financial results that have been coming out recently, but lots going on, Curtis, still.
Another busy week in the motor trade, but that's all for now. So many thanks to you for listening to this Motor Trade Radio podcast. Have a great bank holiday weekend. Until next week, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Thank you for listening to the Motor Trade Radio podcast, powered by Motors and Cazoo. We'll be sharing all the URLs from this week's headlines in our newsletter on Monday morning. To subscribe, just search LinkedIn for the Motor Trade Radio podcast.